Hi, and welcome to the ArtsyFartzy Club. I am so glad that you are here with me. My name is Mrs. Johnson, and you are on one of our pre-recorded shows. But don't forget that I go live every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and you can actually make comments and ask questions while I go. So I would love to see you there. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook, and of course, on YouTube. We are going to get ready for our lesson, but I just want to let you know what materials you need for today. And then I have a really cool thing to share with you. So first, we have yellow 9x12, black, and white 9x12. Okay. You'll also want a ruler, a pencil, a Sharpie, scissors, glue, various shades of blue or purple markers, and ribbon, string, or yarn is optional, and we'll talk about that later. And I think that's everything. Awesome. Oh, and a protective paper for your table, and we'll talk about that later. All right. So I used to be a public school art teacher, and I loved using stories to inspire our art. Okay, that was our motivation. And I don't think that kids can get read to enough. So either I would read a story, but sometimes I would use this really cool website that's called Storyline Online. It is absolutely one of my favorites. They work with SAG, which is the Actors Guild. And so famous actors will read stories, and they have the books literally like coming to life. So I'm really excited to share a story with you today. And the actor is Simu Liu, and the book is The Sound of Silence. And that's going to inspire our artwork for today. And I think you'll notice right away why I chose my yellow paper. But take a watch, and then we'll talk about this. This art is so fun. It's even multifaceted in what lessons you're going to learn today. It's not just art, a little bit of English. We're going to sneak some of that in, but it's still going to be lots of fun. Okay, let's see if I can do this right, and I will catch you on the flip side.
Welcome to Storyline Online, presented by the SAG-AFTRA Foundation. I'm Simu Liu, and today I'll be reading The Sound of Silence by Katrina Gold-Saito and illustrated by Julia Kuo. Little Yoshio wiggled with anticipation. 3, 2, 1! He threw open the front door. The sounds of the city swirled all around him. Tokyo was like a symphony hall. Yoshio listened to the sound of his boots squishing and squashing through the puddles, and the tiny raindrops pattering on his umbrella. The sound of his giddy giggles made him giggle even more. Suddenly, Yoshio heard the strangest sound. High and then low, squeaky and vibrating, amazing. It was a koto player carefully tuning her instrument. Then the koto player played. The notes were twangy and twinkling. They tickled Yoshio's ears. When the song finished, Yoshio said, "Sensei, I love sounds, but I've never heard a sound like that." The koto player laughed, and it sounded like the metal bell that swayed in the wind in Mama's garden. "Sensei," Yoshio said, "do you have a favorite sound?" "The most beautiful sound," the koto player said, "is the sound of ma, of silence." "Silence?" Yoshio asked. But the koto player just smiled a mysterious smile and went back to playing. Yoshio bowed to the koto player and ran to school. Where can I find silence? Yoshio wondered as he listened to the thwack of his boots on the pavement. He listened for it through the school day, but there was always some kid making noise. At recess, the sun came out and Yoshio went to the quietest place he knew, the bamboo grove at the edge of the playground. But even there, the bamboo made a taka-taka-taka sound as the wind banged its stalks together. He closed his eyes and heard the swish, swish, swish of the wind making the leaves talk. It was beautiful, but it wasn't silence. Walking home from school, Yoshio listened hard. He could hear the horns of buses and the whoosh of bullet trains and the beep, beep, beep of the traffic lights, but no silence. Yoshio knew so many different sounds, loud and soft, sudden and soothing, but silence? Where was silence? It wasn't in the dining room, where there was always the sound of chopsticks and slurping and chewing and swallowing. What a noisy family. Silence wasn't in the bath, where even his toes made noise and little droplets of water kept dripping off his nose. Drip, drip, drip. That night, Yoshio tried to stay up late to catch the silence while his family slept. But his eyes got heavy, and then heavier, and soon the sound of a distant radio became part of his dreams. The next morning, Yoshio woke up to his neighbor's dog barking and barking and, oh no, he had missed the silence. Yoshio walked to school early. His sisters whizzed by on their way to the park, screeching Yoshio's name. Where was silence? Yoshio heard the creak of the school gates as he pulled them open. No one was at school yet. He put on his inside shoes and listened as they shuffled on the shiny floor. The classroom felt different without anyone in it. He sat at his desk by the window and pulled out a book. He loved this story, and as he read, he forgot where he was. Suddenly, in the middle of a page, he heard it. No sound of footsteps, no people chattering, no radios, no bamboo, no kotos being tuned. In that short moment, Yoshio couldn't even hear the sound of his own breath. Everything felt still inside him. Peaceful, like the garden after it snowed. Like feather-stuffed futons drying in the sun. Silence had been there all along. It had been there between the thumps of his boots when he ran, when the wind stopped for just a moment in the bamboo grove, at the end of his family's meal when everyone was happy and full, after the water finished draining from his bath, before the koto player's music began, and hovering in the air right after it ended. It was between and underneath every sound, and it had been there all along. Ma. Silence. Wow. I mean, I have so many thoughts after reading this book. First and foremost, I am a little emotional. I mean, what a profound story about silence. It's really amazing that this story really highlights the importance of stopping and listening and really taking a moment to reflect. Because when we're listening in a moment of silence, I feel like we are in moments of reflection. And in these moments of reflection, we discover things about ourselves. We listen to the world around us. I think this book is really teaching us to keep our ears open and to just take in every single sound, including the sound of nothing. And I think that's really, really profound and really important. Silence is the perfect environment through which we can learn, through which we read. And in this world where everything everywhere is happening all at the same time, and there's so much to do, It's really important not to forget about the importance of silence. Thank you so much for watching Storyline Online. Make sure you check out all of our stories. And remember, keep watching and keep reading.
What'd you guys think? I love that book. It's so awesome. You know, silence is something that we really don't have very much of anymore because we walk around with our ear pods in. We're always listening to music or shows or podcasts. We have the TV on. We've got our electronics, computers, and games. And even if we're driving in the car, we still have music on a lot. So there really is something to be said about that moment of silence. And just have an ah moment, right? Okay, I am really excited to get going. So just a quick reminder, if you didn't notice earlier, please make sure that you hit that thumbs up for a like, and make sure you hit the subscribe and the bell so you get notified when I do go live on Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern. That really helps with the algorithm and letting other people know that I exist on their internet. And I really appreciate that from you guys so much. All right, let's dive in. Here we go. Okay. So we have our piece of paper, get everything out of the way. I'm going to take that yellow sheet of paper and I'm going to fold it in half like a book. Okay. And lining up those corners to the edges, holding it nice and firm with one hand and using my other hand or finger to press. And I am going to use my pencil, which usually I know I don't use my pencil a lot with you guys, but just in case I make a mistake today, I did like having a pencil sometimes. Okay, so I'm starting on the folded side, making it a point and coming down. And did you guys notice what was yellow in the story? I know I said, hey, I picked this yellow piece of paper for a reason. Well, I sure noticed his yellow umbrella, right? His yellow umbrella. So we are going to be making yellow umbrellas, but we're going to be doing them a certain way. Okay, now here, I know I'm drawing without telling you what to do, so hold on. All right, here's the sneaky part about this, is that this center is going to be half of a bump in the umbrella. So I'm only doing half of a circle here, okay? And this is why I like to do my pencil, because I can kind of fool around with my line and readjust it a little bit and see if I like that. I could erase it and redo it. So if this is a half, then I know that I need to make this space twice as big. So if this is this long, I need to make it longer, right? Okay. So these ones are twice as big. Boop, boop, boop. And if I go to cut, okay, we know that the thumb goes in the little hole, fingers go in the big hole. My thumb is pointed straight up at the ceiling. And there we go. I'll just adjust so I'm more centered on your view for you guys. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and start from here. I'm using my left hand to turn the paper. That's so important. And it's okay if you overcut to be able to come back in and be able to get a better angle. But notice that my scissors aren't moving. They're pointed away from me. I'm always trying to have my arm be comfortable away from my body. If I try to cut like this is very uncomfortable. I don't like that. Okay, and it's really hard to cut that way. So I'm pointed away. I open up my scissors for a nice big alligator chomp. And turn your paper. Boom. All right, coming at this point, following my line as best I can. What's important isn't necessarily staying perfectly on the line. It's having a nice smooth cut. What you don't want to do is to have this. Okay, we don't want these little hairy ends, okay? We want it to be a nice flow of a cut. And if I did it correctly, and I open it up, it should look like an umbrella on the most part, okay? So now, I'm going to try to set that aside. I have things all over my table right now. Okay. I am going to turn my black paper vertical, and here's where my ruler is going to come in handy, because I'm going to make a handle. That's the word I'm looking for. A handle to my umbrella. And so I'm going to go most of the way on my paper, but I'm going to stop because I'm just going to hand draw the curve. Now, the key thing here is trying to make the handle the same thickness all the way. So my ruler helped me draw a straight line, but I can't really use it to draw my curve. But I want to try to keep that thickness, that fatness of my line the same, even though I'm curving. Okay, and it's tricky to do. All right. Now, oh, you can see it. That actually, you can see it better than I can see it in real life. On the screen, you guys have a much better view. That's awesome. Love it. Okay. Once again, thumb in the little hole, fingers in the big hole, thumb pointed up at the ceiling. I'm going to turn it so I'm doing my nice straight edge coming from off the paper. Doing my nice straight line first to make it easy. And then turning the paper, turn. So easy. Love it. There you go. You guys following along? If your handle is skinnier than mine, maybe your ruler is a different size, and that's okay. Maybe you just drew it skinnier. That's okay. Don't sweat the small stuff. The idea is to have fun, and I love it when everyone's art is unique to them. That's what art's all about. It shouldn't be the same as everyone else. That would make life so boring. Okay. Now that's aside. So I have this and this. And I can take my glue, and I like to put my glue on the object I'm going to glue down, not where I think I'm going to put it, okay? So I don't want to put it here because I'm just kind of guessing. I want this, and I'm going to line it up in the center, right into that center bump, okay? Bam. Now I've got a handy dandy umbrella. Now, what I didn't tell you guys is what we're doing with this umbrella. Well, I'm going to make it into the umbrella of sound, okay? So I don't know if you noticed, See how I'm making the raindrops and stuff? And then we're going to talk about these words. So I don't know if you noticed in the story, they had lots of sound words like the whoosh of the metro train, or the squish, squash, squish, squash of his boots, or the patter, patter, patter of the rain. And there's a word for that. It's called onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. That's a mouthful. It's fun to say. Say it to somebody and see if they know what it is, because that's a tricky one that a lot of adults don't remember when we grow up. So onomatopoeia is when a word sounds like the noise being described. So we heard those whoosh, or you can think of like a superhero, zap, boom, bang, or in our case, the rain. And we're going to talk about different rain words, okay? And so the pattering of the rain. Well, we're going to get into some more words that make a sound, and we're going to use those for our umbrella with our raindrops. So I'm going to take this paper. I'm going to fold it in half like a book. Okay? Fold it in half like a book again. Gets trickier the more you fold it. I'm going to fold it like a book again. But don't worry. I'm not going to make you cut through all these pieces of paper because it'd be really hard. I mean, you could if you were He-Man, but Mrs. Johnson's going to keep it realistic here. And I'm going to cut twice. So I'm going to make 2 raindrop shapes. But I'm only going to make you cut with it open. So I folded this to kind of give me an idea of where I should put my raindrop. Now, a trick way to make a raindrop is to make a circle. So now the bottom of this circle is the bottom of my raindrop. And then I'm going to make a line diagonal and follow that line diagonal to a point. Now I can have my point up, or I could make my point curve maybe a little bit. Make a little fancy raindrop. Okay? So now, same as always, thumb in the little hole, fingers in the big hole, thumb pointed up at the ceiling, and I am going to cut away from myself. Turning my paper. Turn that paper. If you make a bloopy, it's okay to come back in and go, oh, that's not very smooth. You can come in and shave that off, but don't get crazy because we cut it too much. I've seen little raindrops turn into teardrops. They become so small. So don't cry over your raindrop. Just make it as best you can, as big as you can, because you're going to want some space in that raindrop. Boom. All right. And if I did this correctly, how many raindrops should I have? I'm going to have 2 sets of 4. Okay, so there's one group of 4. And another group of 4. Okay. Boom, boom. And I can have a couple this way and a couple that way, whatever I want. Okay, here I go. Set aside my scraps. I need a scrap piece of paper. Now, I usually use only about 6 of my 8 raindrops. So if I do a couple that I don't like in the next bit, I will take my 6th favorite. And that's okay. So I'm going to take my blue and purple markers and I'm going to create some color on my raindrops, but I'm not like trying to color them in because I want my words to show. So I'll get a little creative here. Okay. And that's all. That's all I'm going to do for that one. And I can even use more than one color. So maybe I do some of the light blue. And then I come in with the dark blue. Okay, just be creative. You can make them however you want them to be, but the important thing is to leave some white space in the middle so that we have space for our writing, okay? And this is kind of the relaxing, fun part where you can just be creative. I don't know. Maybe I don't like that. Maybe I add that in. Whatever. I'm just kind of do whatever feels right. Let it maybe have some little shimmers and glows and shines on it. Okay, each one's looking unique. I think I need a new set of markers. Poor Mrs. Johnson. All right. How are we doing on time? Okay. Okay. Last one. All right. And I will pick, how many did I say? My favorite 6. So I'm going to look at my things and go, which ones are not my favorites? I'm going to let them go. Just let it go. Let it go. Right? Boop, boop, beady, boop. Okay. So I don't know. Which one do I dislike the most? I like these. I like that. I like that. All right. Which one do I dislike the most? Kind of don't like the way that turned out. I don't know. I guess I'll keep this one. That means I'm getting rid of that one. Okay. So I've got my 6 raindrops. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And I'm going to start thinking of my onomatopoeias. Okay. So remember, onomatopoeias are word sounds, words that describe a sound while making the sound. Okay. So like our whoosh, maybe that rain's pouring down, whoosh. Okay. I am going to include on the description of this video a list, this list that I have. There are more words that could describe the sound of rain than this. Okay. But this will get you started. And if you can think of more, awesome. I would love to know. Put them down in the comments. If you can think of more onomatopoeia words for rain sounds, I would love to know. Okay. I'm now going to use my Sharpie, and I'm going to use my onomatopoeia sounds, sound words to in my raindrop. So, for example, drip, drip, drip. Plunk, plunk. Okay. This one says tinkle. So maybe it could go tinkle, tinkle, tinkle when it's hitting something. Or maybe tink, tink, tink. Plop. I like that one. Plop. Plop, plop. All right. And splash. 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 Okay. Tap, 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 tap. Cool. Okay, got all my onomatopoeia. See, say that 5 times fast. All of my onomatopoeia words. And now we're going to put it all together with our umbrella. But I don't know if you noticed it on my example, I had some designs on my umbrella. So before we start designing on our umbrella, we're going to talk about lines. And I'm trying to think if I've ever done a line lesson with you guys. Probably not yet. So there are different lines with different names. So this line is vertical, but it's also called a straight line. And it's thin, but if I wanted to, I could make my line thick by coloring it in, right? So thin line, thick line, straight line. What other lines do you know? What other lines can you think of? What would you name this one? If you said a loop-de-loop, you are correct. A loop-de-loop line. What if I took this line and I broke it into pieces? It would become a, if you said road line, I love you. I always have kids tell me it's a road line. Yes, it's like the road, but it's called a broken line. I took that line and I broke it into pieces, so it's a broken line. And instead of making a broken line, I could also make a dotted line, just with dots. And I have, what's this one? What? It's called a wavy line. Wavy line. And last but not least, I'll do today is this one. Do you guys know what this one is? Some people know right away, and some friends are like, oh, I don't know. It's a mountain. It's our, excuse me, zigzag line. Okay. All of these different kinds of lines. And I'm going to take my marker and draw from the point down to the tips of my umbrella. And that makes a section. So from the tip to the point, and from the tip to the point. So now I've got different sections that I can do these line designs. Let's run out of room. I can do these line designs on my umbrella. Okay. So I'm going to take my middle section and I'm going to do a loop-de-loop. All the way. And right now we're just doing lines, but you could do patterns, but we're going to save pattern for another day because we already have a lot going on in this lesson. We're talking about onomatopoeia. Did a lot of cutting. I don't want to wear you out. We'll do more fun things another day. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay. And then I can do broken lines. And I decided to have this one go vertical, but you could do them horizontal too. If you guessed wavy, you are correct. Boop. How do I get? I have pink chalk marker on my hand, and I don't know how that happened. Must have been digging through my marker box, and it got arted on. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I know. Make it go faster with some straight lines that I'm going to do diagonal. Boop. Okay, and last but not least, some dotted lines. And I know I'm trying to go a little fast. You take your time. And remember, since this is pre-recorded and you're on a replay, then you can pause me. You can rewind. You can fast forward. And Mrs. Johnson, I get it. You talk too much. And just fast forward. Or 2 times. Do 2 times speed and make me talk like a chipmunk. I love doing art. It's the best. How about you? Let's all do art together. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. There we go, guys. Woo. Okay. Now I have my piece of ribbon, and I'm going to do a trick because I want to put my ribbon on the middle point, and I want it to be the same length. So I'm going to fold my ribbon in half as best I can. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and snip it in the middle. You need nice sharp scissors for this. If you are using children's scissors, you may or may not be able to do it. If you need to, ask an adult to help you to cut your string or ribbon. Ribbon's tougher, string maybe easier, or yarn. All right. So that being said, I'm going to put glue here because I want my ribbon to be glued to that middle spot there. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Okay. And then I'm going to flip it over. And now I'm going to pre-arrange my drops, my drops, to see what they look like, because some of them are the same colors, right? So I don't want them all to be right next to each other. I'm going to spread out those purple ones. There. No, I want to do this. So I have them running in different directions. Okay, let's do this. Here we go. I might even want to make this a little bit shorter so that it doesn't cover my handle. Okay, so I'm going to start by gluing the tip of my drop and putting it at the point of my umbrella. Now, on this project, I should say, I did them under, and then that's more about the umbrella. But I kind of think that the raindrops would be rolling down your umbrella, so they should be over the umbrella. That just made more sense in my mind. So I changed my mind for you guys. I think it'll look better on your project. All right. Doing the back side of my raindrop, and then bloop, put it on the tip. And then for these ones that go on the string, I'm kind of doing a little bit above center. And then lining it up. Boop. And boop. And ta-da! I hope that you guys can see this well enough. That's it, gang. Do. Get all of my goodies out of the way here. Oh. Mrs. Johnson throwing stuff again. Look out. Here we go. All right. So you kind of get the idea. It's a little close, but oh, I lost a raindrop. Come back, raindrop. Don't go. No. All right. Did you get the idea that now they're sticking to my table? All right. The handle's down here. Beep, beep. Okay. So we learned a lot of stuff today, and I hope that you had fun doing it. Let's see if I can. There we go. Well, a little bit more about me while I'm talking to you. Okay. So we learned a ton of stuff today. We learned about cutting and folding and cutting something so it's symmetrical on both sides, so it's the same on both sides, right? And so we only did the half a circle. Then we learned about lines. So we learned about all different kinds of lines. We had straight lines, thin lines, thick lines, loop-de-loop or curly lines, broken, dotted, wavy, and zigzags. And then last but not least, you learn the word of the day, onomatopoeia. Okay, so go see if your adult knows what onomatopoeia is and see if you can impress them today. And you know that onomatopoeia is when a word sounds like the noise it's describing. You know, a really common ones would be like animal noises, like oink, meow. Okay, those are all onomatopoeia too. So you know a ton of things that are brand new. Wow, you guys are amazing. I really hope that you find me on Instagram and share your art with me there. You can attach pictures, right? And that would be awesome for me to see what you guys are doing at home. I would just really appreciate that. And you can also email me at the ArtsyFartzy Club HQ@gmail.com. Or you can also message me through the Facebook. On the Facebook, I'm going to post this and you can just comment right under the post with this video if you saw it there. Or on YouTube, comment in there if you saw this video on YouTube. I would love to hear from you and to see what you have done. Again, my name is Mrs. Johnson, and guess what? If you are brand new with us, you are officially a member of the ArtsyFartzy Club. Yay! I'm so proud of you. So please do share your work with me. And until I see you again next time, stay artastic.